Every 50 years, normal people get incredibly rich. And right now, we're 14 years into the next cycle. Now, Intel went up 23,000%, Apple 1.5 million%, Microsoft 57,000%. But here's what nobody tells you about these legendary returns. They followed an exact pattern that's happening again right now. And most people are looking at it completely the wrong way. I'm Mark Moss. I've been building and selling tech companies since the dot-com boom. I've been using the power of cycles to drive my investing thesis. Today, I'm a partner at a leading Bitcoin venture fund, and I advise companies building the future of finance on Bitcoin. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through the same system, the same signals that we use to make decisions, and how you can use them too, including why you didn't miss Bitcoin and what's coming next. So let's go. All right, so we're going to talk about the 50-year cycle and basically how we can put ourselves in a position to have money just come right to us and right into our accounts. It's sort of like the great one, Wayne Gretzky. He said that I always skated to where the puck is going to be. Well, we're going to show you how to get to where the money is going to be. And we understand that because we know that money rotates, it transfers, and it follows predictable patterns. As a matter of fact, one pattern I talk about all the time is a pattern that's been happening over and over and over again over the last 300 years. As a matter of fact, it's happened now 6 times in 300 years. Now we can see the beauty of it happening over and over and over and over is that each time it happens, it's more likely to happen again. And we can see that it has a very predictable pattern within it. And if we understand the predictable pattern, then we know that we should be adjusting our strategies within it. It's a blueprint. What I learned early in my investing career, really was in 2008, is there's no such thing as good and bad timing. There's good and bad strategies. And so we have to adjust our strategies as we go through these, specifically through the 4 distinct phases. Now, the beauty for us is that we understand that it's always been the same blueprint. And when we look back, we can see that the richest people in history came from each one of these cycles. The last 50 years, the only way to get really rich was telecom, internet, computers, right? Before that, it was Ford, GM, GE. Before that, it was banking, or it was steel, Andrew Carnegie, or it was Vanderbilt, or Rockefeller with oil. So each one of these technological revolutions, I call them quantum wave cycles, made new generational wealth. And like I said, there's a repeatable blueprint that we can follow. Now, we know that the last one was 1971, which was really represented by Intel, because it was the first microprocessor that brought the entire computer, phone, and internet revolution around. And it went up so fast, it went up 23,000% in the first phase. But then it had a second phase, a third phase, and a fourth phase, and most investors completely missed out. But I don't want that to happen to you, so let me show you exactly how all this works. Okay, like I said, first of all, there is a universal pattern that repeats over and over and over again. Here's what it looks like. Okay, so in this 4-phase pattern, we have 4 distinct phases. The first one is what's called the eruption phase. The technology is invented, everyone's attracted to it, all the speculators rush in, they start pushing the asset prices up, and it's mainly driven by retail people, individual people, small check sizes going in, but there's this frenzy or this eruption that happens. Then we go into the second phase, which is the surge or the frenzy phase. Now this is where the big money starts getting invested. They start getting interested. And the big check size is coming in. Now, this is where the bulk of the move comes from. Now, once it hits the third phase, this is where it's starting to kind of go into everyday life. The returns aren't near as big. Obviously, most of the risk has been gone. And by the time we get to the fourth phase, that is where the cycle is pretty much over. Now we can see, I sort of illustrated here for you, this is about where we're at right here. We're just starting to ramp up to have all of this growth. So it's important that you understand this right now before it's all over. Okay, so now that you understand that there's these 4 distinct phases, let me show you how we look at this. The beauty of this is that while most people think in phase 1, they've completely missed out, the reality is that phase 2, that's our sweet spot. Phase 2 is where the bulk of the money is made, and it's made with a lot less risk. Let me show you how. Now, first off, phase 1 is huge, all right? Like I said, Bitcoin went up by a lot. Intel in that first phase went up by a lot. So it's huge, don't get me wrong. But the problem is that most people get faked out. So they see it go up by a lot, and they think, I missed it. I should have bought it earlier. It's too expensive. Too expensive compared to where it was before, not realizing that phase 2 is where the bulk of the wealth is made. Phase 2 is always bigger. We can see it in this chart right here. And when we talk about technology, we use something called an S-curve. So an S-curve is sort of how the technology is diffused. And basically the way it works is the time it takes to go from 0 to 10% adoption is the same time it takes to go from 10% to 90%. So this same time is about this same time. And again, this makes it like a parabolic run. Now it gets even better than that. So not only is the bulk of the growth there, it's safer. The other reason why is this risky asset has been shaken out, but also because the money pool is literally 1,000 times bigger. So again, in the first phase, it's individual check sizes, it's mom and pop, it's retail investing. But phase 2 is where the institutions, the sovereigns come in with hundreds of billions of dollars. So it's a bigger move, it's a risk-adjusted move, and there's more money coming in. Now, why do these cycles work? Why do they seem to be repeating over and over and over? Well, typically it's because human nature. As much as things change, they also stay the same because human nature always stays the same. So we really have two types of investors. Investor 1, which is you and I, we're called the dumb money, small checks, right? Then we have the institutions, the sovereigns, things like that. That's called the smart money. Now what happens is, in the beginning, it's always the individuals, the retail that comes in first. So we get it up off of the ground. We're the speculators, we bring it forward. But then, phase 2, the second type of investor, the big money comes in. It always works that way. It's happened with automobiles, it happened with microprocessors, and it's happening in the decentralized revolution as well. It also is because of the technology adoption curve. We talked about this, the S-curve that it follows. And we know that it has accuracy, consistency throughout history. Again, this is the 6th time that it's happened, and it's repeated the exact same way over and over and over. The key, though, is understanding the timing of how it goes from one phase to the next. That's what holds the key. Okay, so then if that's so important, then where are we in this? Well, what we can see is that the current cycle started in 2010. And again, this is where one cycle is dying and a new one sort of takes over. So what we saw, remember, in 1971 was the birth of the microprocessor, personal computers, telecom, internet. What happened with the internet was started very decentralized. In the beginning, when I started my first internet company, I had to run my own server in my office. Any of you old enough to remember that? Okay, but then we got cloud computing. Then we got like SSOs. I log into websites with my Google ID or my Facebook ID. And then somewhere along the way, the internet got super centralized and super controlled. And now we've seen the downside of these centralized systems, and it's starting on a decline. At the same time, we're seeing a rise of decentralized systems going up. And so this is the old wave ending, the one that started in 1971, and this is the next 50-year cycle beginning here in 2010 with decentralized systems. So we can see exactly how that works and why. And remember, these 4 phases. So the eruption phase got it to here, and we are right here. We're about 14 years into this process. And you and I, if we want to make the big money, we have about the next 5 years left to really press in hard. But again, here's what everybody gets completely wrong. They think that they missed out. How many times have you thought that you missed out on Bitcoin, or that somebody else tells you they missed out on Bitcoin, or you wish you could just go back and you could have bought more? But let's look through some historical parallels to see. Now we talked about Intel, right? So in its first phase, it went up by 23,000%, and most people thought they had missed it. I wish I would have got in sooner, but they didn't realize that the first phase was barely even noticeable when you looked at the second phase going up by 26,000%. So they sat on the sideline. Oh, woe is me. I never get it. I always miss out. And they sit on the sidelines and they miss the biggest part of the cycle. We can see the same thing happen with Apple. In the first phase of Apple, it went up by 1.4 million%. 1.4 million%. It's too expensive. I missed out. Why do I always miss it? They sat on the sidelines, and then Apple went up another 151,000%. But the beauty is, as I said, the risk was pretty much gone. After it had gone up 1.4 million%, it was an established company. It wasn't going to go out of business. It wasn't like a pump and dump company at that point. And so you had the chance to come in at a much lower risk level and ride this second wave. We can say the same thing with Microsoft. As a matter of fact, Look at that chart just together. In the first phase, Microsoft went up 57,000%. Amazing. Most people sat on the sideline and forgot that the second phase went up by 1.6 million%. Again, after most of the risk was already gone. This is the opportunity that we have right now today. So while people think Bitcoin is expensive, compared to what? Well, compared to where it was, but what about where it's going? Well, this is a projection of basically what we call store of value assets. The governments keep printing money, the debt system continues to expand, the wealth of the world continues to expand, and where does it go? Well, we typically hold it in money. We park it in bonds, real estate, equities, collectibles, gold, and Bitcoin. This basket in 2020 was worth about $850 trillion. By 2030, it will be worth about $1.7 quadrillion, based off what the government projects that they'll continue to expand the monetary system through debt and deficit spending. Now, when this goes up, each one of these, real estate goes up, stocks go up, collectibles go up, and Bitcoin goes up as well. What we're trying to predict is what percentage of that basket could Bitcoin get? Well, if Bitcoin could get only 1% of the basket, that would put it on par with gold right here at about $21 trillion or $1 million per Bitcoin. Now I've broken this down into way more math if you want to see it. We'll link to that video down below if you want to go ahead and watch that. But we believe that it can get to at least 1% of that basket by 2030, putting it on pace for $1 million per Bitcoin. So while that sounds good, that's about a 10x from here. We understand that's barely even scratching the surface. So what's bigger than that? What's bigger than Bitcoin? Well, just like the microprocessor created Intel, and then Intel created computers like Apple, and then that created software like Microsoft, and created all the internet companies that we have today, we understand that Bitcoin is creating an entire ecosystem. So if you think about Bitcoin as a commodity or like an asset, sort of like oil. Oil is a commodity or an asset. And while the price hovers around $60 or $80 a barrel, there's an entire oil industry or ecosystem built around it that just happens to be the 8th largest industry in the world, valued at almost $5 trillion. So we have a commodity that's price ranges, building an entire industry, and that's what we're talking about. So we have Bitcoin going up, but we have these new Bitcoin treasury companies, and we have the entire Bitcoin ecosystem. Bitcoin treasury companies are companies like MicroStrategy that are levering up their balance sheet to grow their stock or their Bitcoin per share. Companies like MetaPlanet that are doing the same thing. And these are moving 3 times, 5 times, some of them even 10 times faster than Bitcoin. If you want to know more about how to find these companies specifically, I'm going to do a whole live presentation next week. You can come hang out. I'll break down all the new metrics, Bitcoin per share and torque and Bitcoin yield and all these things. We'll go through exactly how these companies work, how to find them, and we'll open up for Q&A if you want to come hang out. It's all for free. I'll put a link down below if you want to come join me. But what we really want to do is take steps, all right? This information isn't any good unless you do something with it, all right? So the first thing you have to understand is we want to be thinking in cycles, not daily moves, okay? We understand that daily things get choppy, but over cycles, they go up, all right? Now, in this current cycle that we're at, we have maybe about 12 months left, and then the next cycle will start. But that means we need to be taking aggressive action now and pressing in as hard as we can right now. Now, I'm going to do more videos to continue to educate you on this. So what's next? We'll do institutional money is abandoning crypto and what they're buying instead. We're going to talk about the new language of wealth that makes Wall Street analysts look fools because, like I said, there's a whole new set of metrics. Now I'm going to talk about how AI and Bitcoin are converging together. All right, so I'm going to break all this down because I do not want you to miss this. Again, if you want to get to the front of the line and skip the class, I'll put a free link down below if you want to come hang out with me. We'll go super deep into this. Otherwise, stay tuned as we drop these other videos. And if you want to understand where Bitcoin's going in 2030, 40, and 50, you should probably watch this video right here, and I hope to see you over there.